What up, sports fans and fellow foodies? I'm Julie, and welcome to my kitchen, where each week I talk sports while whipping up culinary treats. As 2025 is winding to a close, and this evening is winding to a close, the Bears, in a shootout by the Bay, they lose to the Niners 42-38. That means the Bears cannot get the number one seed. There was a lot to like about this game, and there is some not to like. Came down to that final play, Captain Comeback, Caleb Williams, trying to get it into the end zone with seconds left. He falls short, trying to get it to either Walker or to Luther Burden. Can't find either of them, and the Bears stumble, falling by 4. Crazy game, over 900 yards of total offense for these two teams. Again, the Bears did some things really well, and they missed a ton of tackles. Crazy. I wouldn't want to be in the defensive film room tomorrow morning. But we're going to talk a little good, a little bad, not just about the Bears, but about what you've seen from Chicago sports this year. And so tonight, we're making a sweet and sour sauce. Get it? Sweet and sour? So we're going to get that cooking, and then we're going to talk some sports. I am kicking up some heat here. I'm going to bring it down to probably about a medium temperature. And everything's going in at once. Just make it nice and easy for you. I'm going to start with rice vinegar. This has a nice light vinegary taste. It's not quite as strong as a natural white vinegar. You can use white, you can use apple cider vinegar, but this one's going to give you the best Asian flavor for what you're mixing up. And then, so I've got a 1/4 cup of the rice vinegar. I've got 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Nice thing about that, if you're watching your salt, you can go low sodium on that. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of water. So again, all my liquids going in here. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Again, if you'd like, you can go low sugar on that. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of my brown sugar here. Nicely packed and then popped out of my measuring cup. I'm going to mix these up a little bit, and then we're going to add our last ingredient here. And here it's got a little sizzle moving around in the pot. We'll take a look at it in just a little bit. That ketchup is going to help give it some of the red color that you're accustomed to when you see sweet and sour sauce at your favorite Chinese restaurant. But it's also going to give us a little bit of sugar, a little bit of tang. So we've got our liquids mixed really nicely in here. And I'm going to add our cornstarch. I've got 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. You've seen me in the past do something we call a slurry, which is where you do the water and the cornstarch separately to thicken things up. This time everything's going to go in, and the heat is going to activate our cornstarch, and it's going to thicken things up. So I'm going to take this down a little bit so we can chat while we are letting this come together. I am using one of my Christmas presents. I got all sorts of lovely Bears cookware and a cutting board from my adorable friend Jen. I got my new Bears sweatshirt from my mom. And my sister, knowing that I use the hashtag #playbyplate when I post my videos, got me all sorts of nice little dish towels and pot holders with my hashtag for the videos on there. So definitely some awesome things came my way this Christmas season that I get to share with you guys when I'm here in the kitchen. All right, I got this working. It is bubbling a little bit. Again, we're kind of on a medium-low heat, and we're just gonna let that thicken up a little bit. We'll whisk it every now and then. Okay, so let's talk good and bad. See, I could talk the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there's no ugly in my kitchen. I mean, okay, maybe once in a while I mix like a buttercream and the color turns out kind of funky. But really, let's stick to the sweet and sour, because there's some good to talk about this year across all our major Chicago sports teams. We will get to the Bears in just a second, but first, let's look back on our baseball teams this year. You had the Cubs making the playoffs. They didn't get as far as they would have hoped, and the Cubs had a heartbreaking loss this year when Ryne Sandberg passed away. So ups and downs for the Cubs included those points. The White Sox had another 100-loss season, but not as many losses as last year. So that's a positive, right? They wind up getting the #1 draft pick, which everybody in Sox Nation is excited about. And they managed to snag a Japanese player that a lot of teams were courting. You can call him Mooney because it's a lot easier than remembering his entire name, which I'm going to use my little cheat sheet here, Munetaka Murakami. I think he's adorable. I think he's hilarious. Everything I've seen of him so far, he's endearing himself to Sox fans already. But Mooney, as he says we can call him, he's an exciting acquisition already for the White Sox. So a little bit of good there on the south side. Bulls and Blackhawks. Bulls had their play-in game going back to last season, but earlier in 2025. Again, they didn't advance as far as they would have liked. They started this year 6-1. They've been kind of middling ever since. The Blackhawks have Connor Bedard, so what's not to love about Connor? But they've got a lot of youth and inexperience, and they're still kind of floundering around the bottom of the league most of the time. So, Blackhawks, Bulls, optimism with the young players, but again, not enough to get as excited about them as we might be about the football team in town. We'll get to them in one quick second, but first we got to mention our Bowl teams, Illinois and Northwestern. My Wildcats won the other day in the Motor City Bowl. They beat Central Michigan. Illinois getting ready to play Tennessee, and they're going to be playing on the 30th, I believe. And so the Illini looking for another strong bowl showing this year. I think this will be their 3rd straight win in a bowl game they're looking for under Brett Bielema. And again, the Wildcats winning the other day in what was kind of a disappointing bowl assignment for them. But the Wildcats, their 6th straight bowl game win, that is the 3rd most consecutive bowl game wins in college football. So way to go, David Braun and his Cats the other day. And then there are the Bears, who have so much going for them, so many positives, but there are some sad parts of the year, and it started early in 2025 with the passing of Virginia McCaskey. So, sad moment for Bears fans, sad moment up at Hallis Hall to lose the matriarch, but a lot of Bears players are saying she's watching over them and guiding them as they have this magical season. And Virginia McCaskey was actually still alive to see Ben Johnson get hired. Ben Johnson, one of the brightest spots this year for Bears fans. So, good, bad, all sorts of things to be optimistic about if you're a Bears fan. They play next Sunday. They've got the late afternoon game against Detroit. They can still finish with the 2 seed, but at the very least, they're a 3 seed in the playoffs. They have clinched the division after last year being the only division team to not even make the playoffs. So some good to look at there. That kind of washes away some of the bitter aftertaste of tonight's loss. Tonight's loss reminded me of that first Green Bay game and that horrible feeling when it came down to that final play and Caleb Williams had a chance to win it, throwing the ball to the end zone, and he got picked off in the end zone. So this kind of had that feel to the end of the game, that disappointment, that oh so close and then feeling crushed. But the Bears still have a postseason berth to look forward to. So on that front, we can at least cut a little slack for the loss today in San Francisco. No slouch, losing to the Niners. And the Bears had an illness bug sweeping through the locker room. So we don't exactly know how many of those guys were playing hurt when they were a little under the weather. All right, let me show you what we got going on here. You can kind of see if I can tilt this a little for you. We've got a nice thickness to our sweet and sour sauce. None of that runny stuff you get in the packets at the Chinese restaurants. And everyone's eating Chinese food this time of year, right? I mean, I know we got it, I believe, on Christmas Eve, and a lot of people will be doing it for New Year's Eve. So if you're just feeling a little ambitious and you don't want to use the restaurant sauce or the store-bought sauce, you can whip this up pretty easily with just about everything being items you normally find in your pantry. Maybe with the exception of the rice vinegar. Again, you can substitute a different one if you don't feel like running to the store. But these are mostly things you're going to be able to find. You will taste the difference in a homemade sauce. I am going to enjoy mine with some bao dumplings I have here and some pot stickers. So I'm going to dig into those, but not without wishing everybody a very, very happy New Year coming up. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. And looking forward to talking to y'all in 2026 as we continue to talk sports here in my kitchen. See you next time.